Just about ready to start here. Lots of folks are coming in through the waiting room. I'll let Doreen keep an eye on that, and I will get us going. So welcome everyone again. I'm Amy Antonucci. I am the chair of the board of New Hampshire Peace Action Education Fund, and I am really glad to welcome you to our Peace and Justice Conversation Series online for Monday, October 20th, 2025. Tonight's topic is Riding Against War on Gaza, from California to New Hampshire, featuring Bob Sanders, and also we are expecting to hear from one of his travel buddies, Nayor. We'd like to start, though, with an acknowledgement that we are doing our work here in New Hampshire on the traditional ancestral homeland of the Abenaki, Wabanaki, and Pennacook peoples, past and present. And we want to honor with gratitude the land, the water, and the people who were in relationship for so many generations. Quick reminder on our Zoom guidelines, we love it when you keep your video on. We are recording, so you can make a choice on that. But we do love seeing you. We will have your audio muted to start with. You can use the chat to ask questions and also to answer questions that Bob might present to you. And then later on, we'll also do hand raising for Q&A. So I'm going to introduce tonight's main speaker to you, our good friend, Bob Sanders, a New Hampshire resident and former journalist for over 30 years. He retired in 2023, and he also founded around that time Not in My Name, New Hampshire, which is a group of Jews who have been advocating for a ceasefire in Gaza and to stop U.S. military aid to Israel. At the age of 70, he launched his third long-distance ride as RAW GAZA, Ride Against War Gaza, and this one was on the 50th anniversary of when he last biked across the country as a college student. He had some amazing adventures and is going to be talking to us about that tonight. So if you can join me in a very visible welcome for Bob. Thank you for being with us.
So, hello everybody. It's great to see you here. One of the first things, I recognize a lot of faces from New Hampshire, but from a lot of other places too. And I just would be curious if people might put in the chat where you're from, and how you basically know me or met me or whatever. This is going to be a little different. If you've heard me speak before, I'm usually totally disorganized and rambling, and I'm going to do an experiment now. I'm going to try to be organized. And I actually prepared a PowerPoint, and I haven't done this at all. So we'll see how it goes, but I can always ditch it and tell you, and talk to you about it. Otherwise, just do my usual thing. Anyway, by the way, Amy, but I did send you for some reason I can't send stuff in the chat myself. So I sent you as a reply to your email about this meeting. I sent you all the stuff to put in the chat along the way. So here goes. Everybody seen it?
Looks good.
Okay. All right. So this is the the RAW GAZA USA tour, and I spent the month doing this, and the demands kind of change as the situation changes. And this is my latest. I wanted to keep it simple. Um, and one of the things that I've learned on this trip or have changed me is that I'm accepting that this is a genocide. It's not the Holocaust. It's not the same as what happened to the Jewish people in the 40s. But it is a smaller genocide, if you can say it, because there just aren't as many Palestinians to kill in that area. Um, and the starvation that's has become much bigger an issue right now. And this is never going to be sustainable until we end the occupation. And um, that means Israel has to basically get out of Gaza, get out of the West Bank, um, and then go from there. I never figured out whether it's a two-state or one-state solution, but that's not really up to me or people in the United States. So you can say what is preferable, what you would like, but that isn't, we shouldn't be discussing this as if we're deciding what kind of solution they should have. Um, so, um, I'm going to get this kind of out of the way. This is all the things that I say in my speech, but in a rambling way. But I'm not going to just read this, but I'll just skim over the main things. I started on May 30th. I ended on September 2nd in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I went 3,000 miles. I figured it out. It was 13 states. It was 56 days. I pretty much rode, even on our days off, we were riding. We were riding around the city and doing stuff like that. People always ask if this was a supported ride. That I'm old enough to know that's a new term that way back we just had rides and you carried your own stuff, and that's what I'm doing. Um, uh, we actually had it measured on the road, and it was 25 pounds from the panniers, another 5 pounds of assorted stuff that I put on the bicycle. Of course, there's the bicycle itself, and then there's me. It's heavier than all that stuff. Uh, I was mainly put up by friends, supporters, and the members of warmshowers.org. Warm Showers is a group of bicyclists who put each other up. Um, There were 75 events. I counted them. That includes send-offs and greetings from bicyclists who brought us in and out of town, mainly potlucks. Um, Sometimes there was an event that we kind of dropped in on and they had us speak. Um, but um, but there were 75, and even though there were 56 days, because there's some days when we did 3 or 4, um, that includes congressional visits to me, so um, there were actually 50 people who rode with us, not at the same time, and most of them for less than a day. And there were 4 people who rode for a day or more, not or rode pretty much the whole way, except for a couple of weeks. But then he added on a couple of weeks later on at the end, so he probably rode more than me. And there were times when I was injured and I couldn't ride, and he was riding while I was getting other transportations in Idaho. Um, so and I raised 24,000. Half goes to the emergency AFSC, American Friends Service Committee, Emergency Gaza Fund, a quarter to Peace Action, and a quarter to Not in My Name. We're sponsored by Peace Action, American Friends Service, Veterans for Peace, and This is the second time I went cross country. The first time was 50 years in a college as a college student. I think Amy mentioned that. And I did 5 tours before this. 2 were RAW GAZA ride. I did a tri-state of New England, and I did another one going down to DC where I lobbied Congress the first day of session last year. And anyway, both those rides raised a total of 10,000. So um, I said I did this 50 years ago. This was taken last year by my neighbor Becky, who's a professional photographer, and this is from Newsday. I wrote an article about my first ride, and this beard, I didn't do it just for the picture. But I was in this group. We'll get into that, called Biking Old, and I wanted to be old, but then I got tired of when people were in the subway system in Europe when we were visiting. They were standing up, and because they didn't think I could stand on the subway. So I shaved it off because I guess I didn't really want to be old. Uh, so why am I doing this? Well, I was going to do it anyhow. Um, and but 50 years ago when I did it, it wasn't, because I was political, which I was. I was very active back in college. Um, and but I didn't put together um, politics and biking. And I think I was inspired by Granny D more than anybody. Of her walking across the country in her 90s. So I'm taking it the easy way, and I'm only 70. So, but still, I thought I could maybe get some attention doing this. Um, and I was originally going to call it Biking Old or Bold. Uh, and it was going to be to defend and expand Medicare it's kind of like Medicare for all, but in a more gradual sense. And but when I retired in last year, I mean 2023, it was right 5 months before October 7th, and I got involved. I wanted to speak out with a Jewish organization, and there was there were some great national organizations, but there wasn't much on the ground in New Hampshire. So we ended up starting our own organization that we work a lot with. I guess the closest organization in New Hampshire is Jewish Voice for Peace, and I'm a member there, and there are some members of JVP that have worked with us, and but the people I originally worked with didn't want to join JVP, but they wanted to do something, so this is what we did. And so when it came around to going on this trip, I decided to repurpose it for that. And so this is the first leg of the trip. I couldn't get Google Map to do the whole thing. So I'm going to just give you one section at a time. And this isn't like most of the important places. This is the ways to do it so that that you won't get the lines will do what you want on Google Map. At the time, when I did this map, there was a crash over here, but the crash with me actually happened over there in Mountain Home. And I didn't really do much biking. This Naor did, and he went further to the Tetons, but I was well, we'll talk about that a little later. So here we're starting, and Naor was there from the beginning. This Golden Gate Bridge.
Give us a wave.
And that's my friend Keith, by the way, who's doing this. He took the photos, and so anyway, didn't see if he's there, but I hope he is. And so we start out in San Francisco. Hold on. You don't want to keep on seeing this again and again. Okay, so this is Berkeley. This was one of our most successful stops. We folks there really organized. It was cool because they were younger. They were a little bit more energetic than some of the older folks that I was talked to most of the ways. And we rode our bikes down to the center of the basically this market, and I gave me a bullhorn, and I was talking to people in the market. I was a little concerned that they were, the people would resent us for, disrupting their, the sales of the folks there. But they seemed to be cool about it. I mean, it was Berkeley, and I did make sure I bought some apples and stuff from the people around, and I talked to them. But anyway, some people were criticizing people for buying food because of all the starving people in Gaza, but I don't think that's kind of the way to go about it. But so we went up some really tough hills in California. But you don't see that when you take the picture of the road because it doesn't look like it. But just imagine some of these slopes we're going up to get to see views like this. And these were, I think, among the toughest hills, and it was so hot. It was over 100 degrees. So here we went. This is one of our first escorts going to Sacramento. They picked us up in Davis, or we picked them up, or whatever, and we rode together. And again, the heat around this time was amazing. We did ride a couple of days when it was over 100. We tried to avoid the afternoons. Sometimes you couldn't. I had a flat tire once, and it was I just didn't get started until like noon. And we had places to go. I mean, we had events to go to that were set up, so we couldn't just say, oh well, we'll just fall behind next day. And so we tried, and we actually did stay on schedule the first part of the trip, and I'll tell you about the second in a little bit. This is the tent I brought, and this is in Oregon. I camped out, there was a town there called Wagon Tire with a population of 1. And and he wasn't home. So anyway, I wasn't expecting to stay with him anyhow. And this was a 70-mile ride, and to get here, and it was 70 miles to the next place, and there wasn't much in between. I had to carry some food and a lot of water. And you need a lot of water when you're out west. And of course now he can ride 140 miles in a day, so he just skipped this. He didn't have to camp. It'd be 32 again, though I couldn't do it when I was 32. So our next big city, I mean, we had some places in California, was Boise. And so anyway, if I'm skipping over folks that are in like Napa or wherever, I mean, it's hard. This thing would go forever if I included every place we stop. So we're going to have some time where you guys can talk, and you can talk about that. Anyway, Boise really was ready for us. That's partially because Naor went ahead and was able to basically talk to people and set it up. And he also went to the No Kings rally, the first one in Boise, and met a lot of people there. In Boise, there was a conflict between the pro-Palestinian and the younger pro-Palestinian and the older peaceniks. It wasn't just old and young, but overgeneralizing. And I saw that in the country, but it was pretty strong here. And when I spoke at this picnic, and that's the second one over here, little tent over there. The other folks wouldn't come at first because they wanted me to go down to their table, which was closer to where people were coming in. But it wasn't just a strategic thing. They were sniping at each other the whole time. But they eventually came up the hill to where I was speaking. And that was partially because I had to get to this other rally because that's when they started bombing Iran. And there's this group that started like a rally we found out the day before. So, and over here was just, we had a couple of days in Boise. So this is a gay pride bike ride that I went along with. And over here, if you can see, it's this is the ride out of town, basically, that our escort. So we went up. So the problem in Idaho is this don't look like hills, but in front of us is a big hill, but worse is this sand and gravel. And my tires were kind of the smallest, thinnest tire you can get to be a gravel bike, which it's okay on a nice compact rail trail, but it's not okay here. And some of these hills were so steep that I had to walk it. And it was tough pushing my bike with all that weight up the hills. And Naora came down to help me a couple of times. Like he's a real mensch that way. Because he had to go up those hills, then come down and then push my bike. Well, we both pushed it, but he was doing a lot more of the pushing, to be honest. Then happened, I got hit by a Jeep going 35 miles in Mountain Home, and I was knocked. I don't remember anything that happened. I was knocked out, and I woke up in time to realize I'm going into an ambulance and to see the mess of the bicycle that I saw over here, and my helmet. I don't know if you can see it in this picture, is cracked. And I wasn't able to bike. I tried to bike. I got some rides so I could keep on schedule, that schedule we were trying to keep on. But eventually, and then I tried to ride. I don't know what I was thinking now, or I don't know what you were thinking either. So I could do 80 miles my first day back on the ride. It was flat, but we did pick this town on the map, and we saw it had a hospital and a bike shop, and so we figured, well, if things get bad, 43 miles down the road, I could stop in Rexburg. Well, Rexburg turned out to be this Mormon town, and Brigham Young University in Idaho is there, and I ended up getting put up by Warm Showers folks, and they were very devout Mormons. Their son was just graduated high school, was studying to be a missionary, and was they had to eat dinner 2 hours early to get the time zone that they were going to in South America. And they were not too, they didn't want to talk about the politics. I mean, they could see that I was, that I was doing this. Well, I told them I was doing this for a cause. And, but at the end, they did, well, mainly she did. And this is, oh no, before I got to them, this is when on my way, I forgot about this. We stayed in Haley, Idaho, that's where they had the replacement wheel. And it's weird that this place is really into bikes, and a lot of the restaurants had bikes in them. There's one above Nowhere, and who should show up, and but whoops, going back here. Steve Dupree, a major developer in Concord, I think people in New Hampshire know him well. Used to be head of the Republican Party, but he's been pretty disenchanted for the Republican Party lately, and he also supported my ride financially. And here he is buying me a beer, which was not a good thing to do when I had a concussion, but it did feel great at the time. So anyway, this is the couple who put me up. This was and anyway, they were so nice, and basically she said, well, why are you doing what you're doing? I understand Hamas is a terrorist group, and so we talked for about an hour, and she ended up agreeing with me, and it was one of the highlights of the trip. I really, really felt good about that. I may had other conversations, but it's not as dramatic as that. Okay, so this is the next part. So anyway, I spent to make a long story short, and I better do that. This is the next part of the trip, and I went to I picked it up in Mankato. I did that because that was where I would have been a month later. So this is how scheduled it was. So I showed up in time for Mankato. We skipped the Rocky Mountains. We skipped South Dakota. I have to say I was not that upset about that, though I really was bummed out that I wasn't doing the whole cross country, that I basically lost 1,000 miles. So instead of 4,000, I went 3,000. And this goes all the way to Buffalo, by the way. So this is in Mankato. There was a few students there for the summer, and I was put up by a professor there from the Kessel Institute, and they did a little. There's no sound here, but they did a little drone footage. It took a delay in my trip because they had to get permission from the airport to do this. But anyway, so that's first time I was on the bike since, well, except for that failed attempt. I did 43 miles. But this is after I recovered. Okay. So Minnesota was really we really got support. We got people riding with us. This is on a dirt road right before a big thunderstorm, which I got caught in. This is Winona, I think it is. And that's kind of towards the end of Minnesota before I crossed into Wisconsin. And that was from a potluck. And this is leaving Minneapolis, and you can't see it, but this is the Mary Tyler Moore show, where she throws her hat up in the air. So we're all doing the hat thing. So this is in Milwaukee. I'm in Wisconsin now, and this is in La Crosse where I'm biking, and we had about over 100 people there. And they originally was going to be a concert, but again, this shows the tension in the movement. There's people, the person doing the concert is from Israel. She used to be with the IDF. She renounces all that now. It's against the occupation, but they didn't want to have anybody from the IDF singing. They thought it should be a Palestinian. So she had to drop out, and so I was it. But apparently it was okay. Then this is Chicago. I'm going to go a little quickly here because I want to leave time for questions. There's a guy from AFSC who escorted me into Indiana. And this is the Chicago Peace Institute, which is they did this worldwide broadcast for peace in the world, and I was featured there, and these are all the flags for the world. This is me coming in.
Greetings, Bob.
Little
Welcome
north,
to Lake Bluff.
that's a little north of Evanston. We stayed in Evanston. There was a big picnic there, outdoor event. I don't have a picture of that. This is people who escorted us through Chicago. I have to tell you, it was really hard in Chicago because it was really hot and we were going right along the lake. Everybody was out in their bathing suits, and I had to go to this meeting at the Peace Institute. And I was thinking, boy, it would have been nice to just hang out on the beach for a little bit. Okay.
RAW GAZA.
That's so this is in Indiana, in South Bend. Here we got some TV coverage there. We also got some in Sacramento, I should say. And by the way, there's some media there's a list of media places with links that I'm hoping Amy is putting in the chat. So anyway, we're in Detroit, which was one of our highlights. This is a pretty big escort here. And over there is, this was at a rally in downtown Detroit. That's Rashida Tlaib, Congresswoman, one of the Fab Four. That's what I like to call them. And she had, tea with us. So she wasn't drinking tea because she was fasting but I drank tea. I had a bit of their cake too. So we did that breakfast before. And then what else happened in Detroit? It was really, both of Rashida and I spoke at a rally, and Naor did too at the, at the downtown, at this market that we were at. And we have lots of pictures of that too, but again, we had to shorten this. This was a little too early. We got to do Buffalo first. But anyway, this is the next route after Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, and then into New Hampshire, Northampton. So we're going to get there. But here's Buffalo. And this were escorted. Again, we've had like people who would just take in hand and they would take us all over the place and feel responsible for us. And like we're worried when they left us if we'd be able to make it. But, and this is, we both usually talked, and this is my chance to take a picture, but this is kind of the crowd we had at this Unity Island picnic. And these are Burmese. They were at a different picnic, but they came over and gave us their food and were shoving money into our hands because they identified with the Palestinians since what they went through. And that's kind of what I'm doing this for, because of what we went through. And, we should pay it forward or, help the people who are suffering now. Anyway, they were just amazing, and I was very moved by that. So here we are in Rochester. The people, I just put a few of these up. They were very creative with their posters, to advertise this. This is not us, we just told them the facts, and they would do the events, and they would put these things on Instagram and all this stuff. So then this is where we are in Syracuse Peace Council. Okay, so Syracuse. Now Syracuse I used to work at, so it was a bit of a homecoming to me. And the Peace Council and a number of groups organizes huge, dinner that I happened to show up for. So I spoke there. I also did a Sunday service at This is a Jew now who never goes to synagogue, speaking in front of a Sunday service at the UU church there, where we know people in Syracuse, and so that go to that church. We knew a lot of people there, and and also I'm skipping ahead. Well, Albany here, where I was interviewed by public radio, which went all over the state. And we also now Albany was on a Wednesday night. They did a potluck. There was maybe 15, 20 people there, but they started, we couldn't get in touch with them or whatever. And they finally decided Monday afternoon, they gave me a call and said, we're going to do a potluck. And they pulled this together in a day and a half. It was amazing. So, and this is Syracuse, by the way, is where Alicia joined, my daughter, who is, you might know her from the ICANN. She is the policy director in Geneva, Switzerland, and she flew in to do the last week with me. So I went backwards. We missed Ohio, and I actually missed it the first time to put it in. But anyhow, this is in Freeman, Ohio, and I just love that picture. And and this is again, we kind of crashed a meeting, but they let me speak, and we got a lot of applause and so forth. This was in Cleveland, in this I guess this tea house or coffee shop or whatever, and it was pretty packed. And this isn't when I was speaking, but I spoke before this actually, and then took the picture. We also did a lot of other things in Cleveland. Cleveland's one of those things that felt like nothing was going to happen, and then everything did. So we were very busy in Cleveland. Okay, Northampton. So Northampton was our Rabbi Day, where they did a Friday services, the Shabbat, and we did the ceremony, and then we went over to the rabbi's home to have dinner, and then we biked with the rabbi with our sign on our back out of town, and really felt great about that. And then we ended Portsmouth, and to this sound.
Justice in the world, justice in America, justice everywhere. Saying justice in the world.
That's Rabbi Kaya on the Safor, the traditional Jewish horn, folks. Okay, so now it's time for Naor to take over for about 5 minutes, and then we'll hopefully hear from all you guys.
Hey, I feel like as usual, I have to try to cover whatever Bob didn't cover in a lot less time. Um, so my name is Naor. I'm from the San Francisco Bay Area. I'd never been to New Hampshire before, and I really like biking. And I am really, um, I'll talk a little more, but I've been involved with the group of Israelis for Peace and allies called there's an organization in Israel called Standing Together that is a social justice and peace group made up of Israeli Jews and Palestinians working together to fight the occupation, work for uh, various social issues, discrimination in Israel, and also solidarity work with Palestinians in occupied territories. So I guess Bob mentioned a few things, so I went ahead of him. I went to the No Kings rally in Boise. Didn't get a chance to really speak at it. It was kind of late, even deciding to do that. But I stayed with some of the organizers of that there, and they were really helpful. And they hosted me. They connected us with some other people, and really grateful to them. Uh, and I decided after Concord that the weather was looking really good, and I hadn't been to some of these places, and um, I decided to keep on going and biking. I biked to Boston, spent a couple of days there, and then I biked all the way down to DC, stopping off New York, in Philadelphia, Baltimore. Uh, and I also ran into, so there was a kind of post Labor Day march uh, with the Indivisible 5051, that they were marching from Philadelphia to DC, and I ran into them in Maryland too. So one thing that I want that I, especially for the for the second part of the tour, I kind of decided that maybe we should try to stop by congressional offices along the way, and get a little politicking in, see if we could even meet congressional representatives, since it was on the most of it was in September when they were summer break. Unfortunately, we didn't talk to too many people in their office. We did crash a couple of town halls in Ohio and in New York. I talked in total, I stopped by a total of 11 House offices or spoke with House members. Uh, with Bob, I mean, we met Rashida, and we also talked with Marcy Kaptur's office. And otherwise, we were mostly talking to staffers. Mostly we were talking to staffers, and we were telling them to. I was both saying to just generally promote peace, and specifically to support the Block the Bombs Act in the House. And it was mostly positive, friendly conversations. There were some disagreements, some debate. I think there's certainly a recognition among staffers that at least many things Israel is doing are wrong. We didn't see anybody change to co-sponsor the bill after we talked to them. There were some during our trip. There were certainly a lot of oh, sorry. I didn't actually mean to share this slide, but during our trip
Oh, okay.
uh, there were a lot of people who co-sponsored it, and now it's up to 55 now, and certainly not all of them are the most progressive members of the House, so definitely some positive developments. Um, I can. Is it possible for me to share a screen? I added a slide that I did want to talk about. If that
I'll stop. Do I need to stop?
Yeah, you need to stop, Bob, and then it should be possible.
Okay, good. Now I can see everybody.
let me and I can update I mean, I did update it, but I think it was after you already sent it. So how do I share my screen here? Oh, here we go. So I wanted to share my experience with staying together, and it would be great if I could share this slide. But so I stopped by three vigils that were how do I get this? Here we go. So Oh, nope. No, this is not the right view.
You might need to unshare entirely your screen and try. Oh no, maybe you're. Never
Let
mind.
me try
Looks like
this
maybe
again.
getting.
Is this okay? Right, that has.
Right now, it has a video in the middle of it too.
Yes, I did not need to do that. There we go. Okay, so this is standing together. So we have this doesn't have the back of my shirt, but the motto is where there is struggle, there is hope. And I think it's been really tough times. We have at least some hope now with the ceasefire that things can the worst is over, we hope, but there's certainly a lot of cause for concern, and it's not a lasting peace deal. But we've have supporter chapters. I'm in one in the Bay Area, but there's supporter chapters around the country. So and we do like vigils with Jews. Mostly Jews. Anyone's free to go, but if you go to the link here, there's resources on any local chapters if you may be near. So there's Los Angeles, there's this was Western Massachusetts, New York, Chicago, and actually Zohran Mamdani, the the next mayor of New York, he went to an October 7th vigil that was organized by the Israelis for Peace in New York. So that's been where I've been most active for the last couple of years, and that's also actually someone in that group was the one who told me about this tour. So I'm really grateful for the community I've had there, and if would definitely we're trying to build more political coalitions as well if you're in another organization. And I really found probably the group that I found was probably the most advanced in building those coalitions was actually in Denver, where they had kind of uh, uh, center left to leftist Jewish meeting between everyone from JVP to J Street to this Stand Together group that were talking about like what they could do to lobby together to Congress, where none of the senators supported the Bernie Sanders resolution to restrict offensive weapons to Israel or the Block the Bombs Act, and they were trying to work together to lobby Congress there. So that's I have any I think we want to leave room for questions. So there's a lot of else in our experiences that we can talk about. I think one thing Bob didn't mention is we got a lot of support just from the road, people calling us, shouting us out, everything from like Freeze Palestine, thanks for what you're doing, giving us money from the road. So I think to me that was kind of the most inspiring part where we're having people who aren't invested activists who are just saying thanks for what you're doing.
Great, thank you so much. I'm going to step in here. Let me let folks know first off. Let me just mention that we are going to just take a couple questions and then we will have our official ending. However, we'll keep the Zoom open for some post-event continued conversation, a little less formal and more discussion than necessarily Q&A. So if you're able to stay, please do, but we will have our official ending on time because we'd like to stick to that. But I'm going to just see about taking a few quick questions while we're still doing the recording. And I know Betsy had one about, where did it go? About, yeah, it looks like you were able to ride on the bike trails and rail trails. What was the percentage?
Um, I'd say it's 80 or 90 on pavement. There weren't too many I mean, we did some trails, but we did a lot on the Erie Canal Trail. Um, that was then that was maybe about half not paved, but it was very smooth for the most part. And I avoided though after my crash I got a thicker back wheel and was able to do the trails a little better. Um, but still, it slowed you down. It really slowed you down. Even when you're on a smooth rail trail, you're going 2 or 3 miles per hour slower.
Okay, other questions, and folks can use the hand raise function if you want to ask it yourself. We can probably take another, or I guess at this point, if folks have comments, just if they can be, yeah, Mario, let's go with you. I should let you unmute now that I've, there you go.
Hi, everybody, especially Bob. I'm from Sacramento Area Peace Action. Bob and I just want to congratulate you once again for this tremendous effort you made and very inspiring cross-country ride. So we really enjoyed having you in Sacramento. It was one of our highlights of the year, and we're ready for you to come again anytime, okay? Thanks again, and thanks everybody for being here and support.
Thanks. And Moji, I think it should let you. There you go.
Hi, thank you so much and wonderful. I'm in Boulder, Colorado. I'm an Iranian American peace activist and nonviolence activist and a Sufi monk. My question is, right now I am worried about the moral degeneration of the state of Israel. And as it is becoming increasingly a Goliath. Just share with me what comes to your heart in response to this, because it's the only legitimacy that the state of Israel had was the, resurgence from the ashes of the Holocaust. Now, when that is being plundered and politicized and weaponized in order to justify a genocide, there is something civilizationally happening. So I don't have time. It says, you've spoken too much. So thank you. Share with me what comes to your heart.
For me, it's one of the reasons I'm doing this. It's a tragedy that a Jewish nation would stoop to this level and to actually emulate to some extent the people who oppress them, and it's a huge tragedy. It makes me very sad.
Yeah, I can say I actually, one of the things I wanted to emphasize, especially was like when I went around speaking, is I have family in Israel, and I mean I totally agree with you that it is a really sad seeing where society is. I don't think anything is immutable. I think that uh, not I don't mean to equate the suffering of Israelis and Palestinians. It's obviously been very lopsided, but there is real trauma that has been part of what has driven Israelis to where they are now. And I think that it's going to require peace, a cessation of hostilities, and a real reckoning for Israeli society to realize how where things are now, and it's going to require people fighting within Israel for justice and outside pressure for. Uh, I'd like to say that to people who say like we really need Israel to needs to be our friend. Well, if your friend is like about to murder somebody, you don't give them a gun. And that's kind of been the US foreign policy, how we've treated Israel. And as they've become more and more radicalized, we haven't really changed that. And I think that's where the change can come from here. But I also think that it requires like acknowledging the humanity of Israelis and to realize that it doesn't require like a genocide can be committed by people who are human, and people can change and societies can change, and it's not irreversible.
Okay, we probably again, we're going to continue after. Of those of you with your hands raised, who can't stay for a few extra minutes? Can you all stay? Seems like you can. Okay, good. So what I'll do, I'll wrap up so that we can end on time. We really try to respect that, and then I'll get back to the Q&A. So that's great. I'm just going to say some quick things here. First, thank you, everyone. And thank you for coming. I want you to know that our series here is free and open to everyone. That said, it is really helpful and meaningful to us when you can donate so that we can keep our programming going. Then sorry, I'm doing the chat at the same time. I also want to mention that we'd love for you to stay in touch with New Hampshire Peace Action, and we invite you to see other of our this Monday night series has been going for 5 years, and we have some just amazing people and programs that we have hosted, and you can watch them on our YouTube channel. Most of them are videoed, and I'm going to put in the chat both a link to our site and to our YouTube site. So with that, yeah, so please stay in touch with us, nhpeaceaction.org, to learn more about what we're working on and what events we're planning. And again, this Zoom series every other week is online. So even if you are from other parts of the country, we're so happy to have you. A few highlights of things coming up in person here in New Hampshire. Our vigils for a just peace continue Wednesday, October 22. We will, from 2 p.m. to 3 p.m., will be outside of Rep. Pappas's office in Dover, New Hampshire. Then Thursday, October 23rd at noon, folks gather at City Plaza in Concord, New Hampshire. The following week, Wednesday, October 29th at 2 p.m., will be outside of Senator Shaheen's Dover office. Also coming up on Thursday, October 30th at 7 p.m. via Zoom, New Hampshire Peace Action ACTS will focus on nuclear weapons elimination. We'll be joined by Jeremy Love, who is the outreach and organizing consultant with Back from the Brink. He'll give us a briefing, and then we will take action together. Our next Peace and Justice conversation via Zoom is Monday, November 3rd at 7 p.m. with U.S. Ambassador Chaz Freeman, Jr. He's going to share insights into U.S. foreign policy and the complexities of U.S. diplomacy, or as he may say, the remains of it. He had a long, distinguished career, and we're thrilled that he can share his insights with us. I want to do a quick thank you here to all the many peace actions across the country that, the fact that we do have this network of affiliates is really beautiful. And the fact that, I was able to say, other peace actions, can you help? And that people all over the country stepped up for that was really, really beautiful and shows the strength of our connections. So thanks for that. Again, we're going